How do you pronounce your name? Is it Delia?
Delia.
Delia.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you think of the computer Dell, it's easier to remember
Delia.
that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, Delia, I am Kevin. Thanks for joining. We have a small group again today, which is totally cool. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I guess I woke up actually really early, so I've been working for a while. So I feel like I'm in the middle of my day.
Oh yeah, my day starts about 3:15 in the morning, so
Okay.
I feel your pain.
Yeah. Uh, well, I did not wake up early. My day is just starting now.
Well, it's still early because you're in California, so it's still pretty early
Yeah.
for you there. So that's cool. So Delia, where are you out of?
Yeah, I'm also in California. I'm in northern Sacramento.
Okay.
I mean northern. It's Northern California, Sacramento area.
All right. So you guys are a few hours away from each other, I'd imagine then, right?
About 10
Uh,
hours.
yeah, we're about. It's actually about 10. It's quite a
Little
distance.
gun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Uh,
Well,
Dahlia,
I'm in Texas, so
Awesome.
sorry.
Kevin, I was just going to ask Dahlia if she could walk us through. She bought into the company she's running now. Now that she's the owner of now. I'd love to hear your story, Dahlia. What got you interested in this industry? You know,
Yeah.
what's the backstory there?
Yeah, in a nutshell, I was selling on Amazon for a long time, and I had some years where we made a lot of money, but it was very difficult to control what happens to your brand or your products, right? So Amazon can shut you down at any point. In 2020 is when this became a reality. Like we've always talked as Amazon sellers about, right, the lack of control. Um, in 2020, I had a lot of money set aside to launch new products that were supposed to add somewhere between 600K to $1 million in revenue to the brand, but it didn't happen because of COVID. And so at that time, I started to ask a question: how can I make my own product? That opened up the question of buying a company. And one thing led to another. I realized, well, a service based company is not a bad idea. And I would love to um, buy a service based company that I grow. Um, and part of my vision was to build a company that gives the employees profit sharing at one point or another, and also gives them a career path to be able to grow. So even if they start at the lowest hourly rate we offer, they have an opportunity to grow. So that's part of my personal uh, vision and reason for wanting to do it. But I wasn't planning on buying a hood cleaning company. I was just looking for a service-based business in the area. I always do things with partners. I had a cousin who has an amazing work ethic, and I knew his contract with another company was coming to a close. I made a proposal. It's like, hey, if I find a company, are you willing to partner with me and become like the general manager? He said yes. And then when we talked to the seller, I found this online. When we talked to the seller, it sounded interesting, and we continued to pursue conversations. So we ended up buying it in September of last year. The process took about 6 months, and we used SBA for 90%, well, 84% of the purchase price.
Which
Wow.
company did you buy into?
The company, it was a small company here in Sacramento area, Pro Clean Building Maintenance. Just,
Okay.
I mean, the company had been around for 20 years as A1 Vent. The guy I bought it from bought it for about a year and a half, and then he looked to sell it because it was too hard for him to to manage from afar. He was in Southern California, but the company in Northern California. And now I know his challenges were a result of the manager he had on staff. The manager was terrible. I mean, I probably shouldn't say that because it's recorded, but he created so many issues. Oh my Lord. And I realized that he lied about things, but I realized that 2 months in, right? The guy who was in Southern California didn't really see all those things.
Well, that's awesome. That your story is similar to mine. So I'll just really quickly kind of share with you kind of what we did. So back in 2019, my wife was unemployed, and she wanted to start a business, and so she was looking around for all these different businesses to start. We've always talked about doing it, but she was struggling to find a business or she was struggling to find work. So she's like, let's start a business, and she ended up with this business headhunter who basically, does a personality profile of you and basically tries to figure out what type of business you would want. And he presented 3 different businesses to us, one of which was hood cleaning, and that was what intrigued her was the hood cleaning one. And so we went down. Cut a long story short, we went down that path, and I was in the real estate business at that point when she was doing it, and she was still trying to find her job, and I ended up connecting her with somebody in corporate America that we started the business, and she was going to go down this path and do it, and she's like, well, through the connection that I made from networking, she ended up landing this corporate job of what she actually wanted. And so she's like, well, what do we do now? Do we continue with this business, or do you take over with? What do we do? So I just left the real estate thing and came and started growing the hood business. And I was like, I didn't know anything about the hood cleaning. I didn't even know hood cleaning was a thing when I started the business. And we learned about it. We figured out all the pain points. My background has been in training, coaching, and developing people in a retail environment. So I spent 20 years almost in a retail environment as a training store manager, and then as a buyer for a large corporation, negotiating $100 million contracts with huge vendors and in the office supply world. And then so I was just like, well, this should be an easy enough fit. It's all about the people. And I think one of the topics we should talk about here is really training and hiring people, because I feel like in this industry, even like when we look at in our hood cleaning mastermind group, I feel like there's always a lot of questions around hiring people, and how do you retain people, and sort of the best practices. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow, Kevin, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. That's a good way into it. My family started Brian Exhaust in the late 70s, in 1978. So I didn't get to the scene until 2008. But I worked no family favors. I worked all the jobs from the bottom all the way to the top. But hiring and all that stuff is extremely important, especially in this business.
Yeah, and I think for me, I was the same way when I started the business. I was the one that was going out. I hired me, and I hired 2 other guys, and we started going out, and we started learning the business. And we went out and we did what we did, and we went through some training and stuff like that beforehand, and then we just went out and started practicing. And I think when we were starting out, I think one of the benefits is that we know we got to make sure we take care of the customer. We know we need to make sure we get it right. We know we need to make sure we're going to do it the proper way. And for me, it was really easy to just go and talk to the local restaurants where we went to eat all the time. And I was like, hey, I'm your neighbor down the block, and we'd love to come in and take care of doing your hood cleaning. And before we even got to that, we found out all the pain points for the customers and said, we'll solve all of those pain points. I'm the owner of the company. I'm going to develop the systems and the processes to make sure that that stuff doesn't happen. And so we went out there and did it. And at the end of the day, we didn't get it right every single time. The first time, you know, we fell down and skinned our knees, but we always went back and made it right. We always went back and did what we had to do because we had nothing but time on our hands at that point, right? We were struggling to get one job a night, to do one job a night. So we had plenty of time to spend there and make sure we were super detailed as we were developing our processes.
Yeah. All right. I understand. Definitely.
But yeah, so hiring. So who do you guys do? Are you guys doing the hiring for your company, or is there somebody else that's responsible for doing it?
It falls under my responsibility. Yeah, I do I mean, I have like when someone calls and they're looking for a job, we've been established and we've been around a long time. Most people that call us looking for work have experience in the industry, so we do have that advantage. And I basically split the guys into two categories. Once I meet them, once I talk with them, are they going to be a helper on a crew, or are they going to be their own crew? So, and I figure that out, you know, after they do all the paperwork. I actually go with them on the jobs and see how they work. I just find that you don't really get to know somebody until you work with them, you know, unless you're in the middle of the job and you see how they handle their guys and stuff like that. So I kind of take a real hands-on approach. I go with them, but we don't have many people that are not familiar with this industry. So I wouldn't have that, you know, how to take somebody from 0 to 1.
See, that's a good point because, you know, there's really two different types of people you're going to hire, right? You're going to hire either somebody that's got experience that knows about the industry, or you're going to hire somebody that has 0 experience and doesn't know about the industry. For me, my success with people lies in hiring people that have 0 experience and training them. And it's not even just this industry that's been successful for me. That's been successful for me even in my past lives of hiring and training and developing people. And the reason being for me is we develop systems and processes. Like that's one of the things that I truly like to do is I like to develop unique systems and processes and then hold people accountable to that, right? The challenge that I've always had when hiring people with experience is that they're stuck in ways and have a hard time adapting to systems and processes that I'm asking them to follow. Now, they can still get from point A to point B. They're just doing it in a different pathway that I would want, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. So what I've always found successful in hiring people is some of the qualities that I go and look for is I look for somebody that's competitive. They're just competitive in nature, and they have a growth mentality. Like they kind of have a direction in life where they want to go. That's what I found to be successful. You know, because when you find somebody that's competitive in nature, right? You gotta ask questions to figure that out. Obviously, when you find somebody that's competitive in nature, they're typically going to succeed at whatever they do because they're always going to be competing against themselves and the other people that they're working for. So, like, I'll ask questions like, "Hey, do you like sports? What sports do you like? What else do you do? Do you like playing games? Do you like doing that?" Like, you just find things that people can be competitive in, and sometimes it's not even sports. Sometimes it's video games or whatever it might be. But if they're competitive in nature, I've always had real success with doing that. I think for me, when we started out, there was a big change when we went from having a real systematic approach to hiring and what we were looking for, right? So like when we hire people, regardless of if you have experience or if you don't have experience, when they come into my organization, they start as a helper and they start at the bottom, right? And the reason being for us is we want people to grow from within, and we want them to learn our systems and processes. So we won't typically I don't think I've ever hired anybody and put them right into a lead spot, even if they're lead material. Like even if they have past experience in being a lead, they'll come in and they'll start as a helper on another crew to make sure that they're capable of following our systems and our processes, and then we can move them forward. But every single time, it always starts with a job description, right? Like we have a written out job description of what we expect from a particular role and what their job responsibilities are going to be. What are they going to be doing? How much are they going to be doing? And stuff like that, so that there's no question on what that role is. I think a lot of times we get into hiring people and we're just like, yeah, we need you to come and be a helper, but they don't really understand what that means. At least that's what the experience that I've dealt with in the past was.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I understand the importance of taking someone from zero, and if you have systems and processes, right? It makes sense to make sure everyone is on the same page, and it allows you to identify when mistakes are made, why they were made, so you can eliminate them easier. So I've seen that happen a lot, and I've used. I spent a lot more time in my companies hiring people, and we would put them through a funnel. So it's very extensive funnel where, for instance, in the job post, I would throw in a, a sentence like, if you've read this whole post, make sure you include this word in your response. You know, just simple things that eliminate people at each stage. And to see how how much attention they pay to stuff. And I'm trying to start incorporating a similar idea into the training after like post hire. It's harder for me because I'm not on the trucks. I don't work in the business, right? So I'm trying to find that good person that can be a good trainer, that can follow our systems. I can create systems, but and I took a course on getting certified as a hood cleaner, so I've learned it, even though I haven't really done it much. But that's my pain point right now, is to find the right trainer for the company. And my business partner, he has a couple of other things going on and kids, right? So he's really good at managing the client relationship, but we need an ideal person to find to become that trainer in the company. So that's a big pain point for me at this point. I think I might have found someone who is good. We'll see. We hired a guy about 2 months ago. It's
That's
a lot,
all.
yeah, it's a lot harder to do it when you're not on the job, hands on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that definitely makes it a little challenging.
I would. We changed our business model in the 80s. We basically split the company in two. We split everything. We think of it as the Uber model before any of those Ubers. So all of our crews are their own companies. And we split basically the job in half, and everything about acquiring the job, all the administration, finances, everything like that is one. And then we basically started, all of our guys got their own companies, got their own accounts, and we find that that worked much better for us as a company. So that's when I say, when someone comes to us, they're either, they know what we do and usually running their own truck, or they're looking to get on a truck. And so we basically make the judgment call. This guy good enough?
So is it
Yeah,
like,
go ahead.
or is it like so are they employees or are they contractors for you then?
Contractors.
So everybody that you hire is contractor and then you just pay them a percentage of the job. Is that what it is?
Exactly. Yep.
And that works.
Yep.
That works really well because I guess there's accountability there then, right? Like you have a lot more, like, so you centralize in purchasing all of your equipment and all of your materials still, or do they become responsible for that?
So they are responsible for their everything on their own materials. Where we come in that dynamic is we know exactly what they want and we buy in the largest bulk that we can to get the best discount that we can. So we'll buy 5 to 8 pallets of plastic.
And then you're just selling it.
Yeah, and we sell it to them at the least possible markup, because we want our guys to have success and not be wasting money on overpriced materials, or going to Home Depot or Lowe's for plastic that's going to cost you $45.
Yeah.
When you can.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we 10 pressure washers and minimal markup. We don't, matter of fact, we've probably lost money on tools and supplies over the years. We don't make any, we make it for the convenience of all the companies that we partner with. We also find that they take way more responsibility. Once we assign an account to a crew, the ownership is 50-50. So they view it as their own account. And like their responsibility level is, they take much more than somebody that's just punching a time card. It doesn't, that they don't really, some of them do care, but most people, they don't have that sense of responsibility to the customer if they're just punching a time card. It's just for a paycheck. So we find by splitting it, and letting them know, look, we're partners in this equation here. And we find that really works for us.
So are they, I have a lot of questions, Brendan.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I've thought about this a lot, and I might want to chat with you a bit more about this offline, because I think
okay.
I think I can go on for quite a while here. But so when you're doing this, like you get a new job, how do you determine which crew are you assigning it to? So are you assigning crews to territories?
Yes, kind of. Yeah.
And then if you get a new job, like you guys are going out and doing the administrative work of quoting and doing all of that, you're not leaving it to those guys. They're just executing the jobs.
Exactly. Yep. We take the only thing that's on the table on their part is doing the job on time and up to standard, which we set. And they have to turn in their pictures and everything. But everything from marketing, estimates, software, pre-qualification when it comes to going through our process. They get treasury verification. We do the job. The job gets, make sure it was done correctly. Customer pays, but the guys always get paid, whether the customer pays us or not. There's a whole process there, but yeah, there we go.
So, sorry, jump in. When you said treasury verification, what do you mean?
We find that if you don't ask people up front when you get the job, how are you going to pay for this?
Mm.
That you will do a job, you will weed out the people that are planning to stiff you,
Mhm.
that are not serious or haven't thought about it. We will do some substantial jobs, so we kind of find it very important to, the treasury lady makes the call on,
Mhm.
okay, most places you have to have a card on file or a check, or if they're large jobs, she can split it into 3 payments, or whatever she works out. But we find it really important to pose that question to the customer and put it on their mind. The job price is this, and we find it weeds out a lot of people that haven't thought about it, or for whatever reason,
Yeah, you're
it
going in and
just
doing a lot
works.
of restoration work.
Yeah, we are.
You're doing some big work.
Yeah, we are. Some of the job prices are quite high, and we have definitely been, we've done jobs, and the customer had no real intention of paying, and we take the loss. Our guys never take the loss, but we do. It's kind of part of the equation.
So another question, I'm sorry, so when you have, who gets, I guess, who hires the helpers then? Are you guys picking the helpers, or is it?
No, they are, but people do call into the office looking for work. They've been with another company. Oh yeah, I worked, and what I'll do is I will figure out where they are, their experience level, and I will funnel them to who I think is the most appropriate crew for them.
So, okay, that makes a lot of sense then. So the leads then that you have running these vehicles, they're paying the helpers?
Yeah, they're their own companies, and we encourage them to have some of their own accounts, and we develop a partnership with them. And over time, this has worked quite well, and we have guys that really have made this a career and been in the industry for 20, 30 years, and live a good life.
So then I'm sorry, Delia, if I
Yeah.
keep jumping in here. So when you're doing this, then they're their own companies, so they're going out and finding their own jobs that they're not running through Brian Exhaust, and also you
Yes.
guys are finding your own jobs and running it through them.
Yeah, they're
You're
yes,
just subbing out all the
exactly.
work essentially.
We're subbing it all out, and most of the time we raise up these companies. We are at a higher price point in the area. We do demand and do set the standards high, and a lot of the techniques that we've pioneered over time, they still haven't filtered out into the rest of the companies. So, once we bring a guy on, they get trained on foamers and scrapers and all the tips and tricks and stuff like that. So we do usually end up raising up, any of the guys that come to us. We don't actually take on many companies. So many people have called, and a few through the process come and stay with us, and some people don't work out.
Brandon, in terms of like the truck or the van, the equipment, do you kind of put the money into getting that ready for the crews? Right, because they have their own company, but according to at least the subbing law, contractor law in California, they have to use their own equipment, but they often don't have the money. because I've been thinking about doing it your model since we got the company, and that's kind of where I want to go, in the direction of somehow separating things. So do you fund it for them? How does that work?
No, we don't do any funding. They have their own stuff and get their own equipment and vans and trucks, and as they kind of progress through us and get bigger jobs, they basically fund it themselves. But we don't fund anybody. But we have seen guys, come in and start with just a little beat up truck, and we'll give them a shot, and over time they'll get a nicer truck, and then they'll get 2 trucks, and we're basically kind of in the business development area, where we're taking everything off the plate of the guy, and he can just focus solely on his guys, his truck, his equipment, and the job, and that's all he has to do.
I mean, I like that a lot, because again, you find the guys who are responsible, and it removes that part of those types of issues. I come from a background of past marketing experience, and that's why I wanted to get a service business. I knew that if I get into a service business, once I can start doing marketing techniques and testing ideas, we can grow the company easily. If you offer good service, it's usually easy to keep the client. So this sounds very enticing to me from that perspective. I've had VAs overseas work for us in all of our companies, so I can build an admin team that supports probably dozens of these small businesses. But my main concern was in California, with all the laws that we have in California with contractors, and not finding people who don't have the funds. And I thought of a solution to actually fund it for them somehow through a different company of ours. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's interesting, and that, Dahlia, is definitely a challenge.
Mhm.
Like we limit ourselves in that way. Somebody comes to us with nothing, but they got the work ethic and the determination and everything that you want. We can't. The only thing I can do is send them to another crew. Or I can't give jobs to anybody unless they're fully insured, workers' comp, unless they can get the job done.
That was going to be my next question. So you're requiring them to carry their own insurance?
We carry our own insurance. They carry their own insurance. Yeah, we have to. This is California, as Dahlia knows. They're very, very strict on subcontractors, and so we just have to maintain that line to the letter of the law. Yeah.
Yeah, Texas is pretty strict on subcontractor rules also. That's why I was just curiosity.
It is. And, in the past, we've definitely pushed the limits. Everyone's been on jobs from the office. Everyone's, we really got to know the guys. They're not strangers. It is not subbing to somebody that you don't know. We know them, their wives, some of their kids.
So what is the split then for typically for like between you guys and the subs? Like what kind of percentage?
So we pay at least, this is where people's jaws may drop, but we pay at least 50% of the ticket.
Wow.
To the company. Yeah. So we, if it's $1,000, they're getting 500. or
What does your
larger.
look like though, too?
What was that?
What does your office staff look like? Like your admin
We have-
staff to handle all of this?
Yeah. So we have a lady that does the software and scheduling for the estimates. We have an estimator who goes out every day and does the actual physical inspections. We have a salesman. So after the inspections are done, this is a remote work position, and all the estimates get sent to him, and he's the one that actually sells the jobs, gets with the customer, negotiates. We have 2 people in scheduling. We have 2 repair techs. Those are employees. So we have two vans, the guys that do all the repair work and the prep work for jobs. So if a job needs hinge kits, access doors, or whatever pre-steps enable when the company comes in to do the job can be done. We have a account manager, person who maintains the relationship with the customer, all the callbacks, complaints, problems. We have a quality control person. This is a person that's just dedicated to inspecting all the pictures and making sure the jobs are up to standard. And yeah, and then we have Matt. Matt does a lot of social media and that kind of advertising and stuff like that. So yeah, hope I didn't leave anyone out. There we go.
Yeah, I
So we
love.
have, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is really cool because the way I thought about it, well, when I initially bought this, the idea was to buy several more hood cleaning companies in the area and roll them up, and then maybe add a couple of other services and then exit. But this way, you just build a system, and the system works on its own once it's built, which I know it takes a little bit of time. Obviously, Ren, you've had this company from for a while. Your family has been in it, so it's going to take me a lot longer to get there. But I love the model because I've been thinking about it, and the fact that you're in California is really motivating me to kind of go back to the drawing board and plan for it. Because indirectly, right, I help the guys who want to work and have good work ethic. I just have to find a path to help them get there and then give them the jobs, which is great.
So I've always wondered about this. So Brennan, if you guys, right, you got quality control, obviously they find something that's not up to standard, right? Do you guys just send the company back out and make them go back and redo it, or how does that work?
Yes, it depends. Depends what it is. So like if it's gross negligent, meaning, a complete section of ductwork was missed or something really obvious, the fan was missed or something like that, yes, we send them out. If it's a section of the ductwork and, we get the story from the crew, what happened here, and, the chef came in early, they had a big order, they had to fire up their ovens, we had to wrap up and clean. Okay, I'm not going to send the guy back. Our quality control lady will mark that in the account. And okay, this area needs to be, we need inspections of this area. We need to make sure it's clean on the next service. But if it's, something completely missed or something like that, absolutely, we send them back. You just have to maintain that.
My thing was that it feels like sometimes when you have subcontractors, at least for like the third party companies that are out there, it's really hard to get people to go back and redo any of the work. At least that's what customer's perception is a lot of times.
Yeah, we've definitely broken past that barrier because we just the way we structured it, we're, you know, people say subcontractors, but we're really partners. I tell everyone we're literally, I'm just partnering with other companies. Our both concern is to make sure the customer, the fire safe system, is happy with the job, it's clean, and it's kind of a win-win-win. And he's getting paid. He doesn't have to worry about chasing down money or anything like that. It basically takes the focus off. He can correctly focus where he wants his energy,
Yeah.
on his guys and getting the job done correctly. He knows he's going to get paid. He knows, we're always researching the latest and greatest tools or whatever. It never stops. So, and he knows once he gets a work order for a job, it's been mapped out. The access stores, most of the time, we do miss some, but we put in the access stores for the job to be done correctly. And we basically minimize all the barriers to preventing the job from being done. In terms of like scheduling, or if we can get a lockbox and the alarm codes to the restaurant, if it's a mall, the security, all that stuff. So
That's awesome, Brendan. I really appreciate you sharing all the info.
yeah, I mean it really works, and we're extremely happy to see these guys become successful and have money, and it's a real path to like you said, Dahlia, it is a career. These guys we're in the business of helping these guys establish it as a career. It's not just a side job or side gig. It can be done for a long time.
Okay. I have to jump off. I have another call that I got to get onto. I'll mute my stuff. If you guys want to continue your conversation, I certainly don't want to cause an end for you guys, and then I'll just end it when you guys are all done.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a couple questions about the foamers, Brandon, if you can stay.
Yeah. Good chatting with you today. I appreciate it. I'm going to just mute and turn off my camera, and then when you guys are done, you could just exit, and I'll close out when afterward.
Thank you, Kevin.
You guys.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. All right, have a good week.
Thanks. Yeah, I love this. I love this summary of your structure, and I'm excited because it shows me that this is possible. But for right now, what I do want is to actually buy at least a foamer, test it out, then probably we have equipment for 3 crews. We don't have 3 crews out every night. Again, I lost about 40 accounts over the last few months because of past negligence from the past manager. So in terms of the foamers, once we get it, I'm not sure which one of you guys posted the mixture that you guys use for the foamer. So I was planning on using that. I found it in one of the groups, the hood cleaning groups, what you combine to make the foam. So that was the plan. But I'm wondering, with some of those hoods that are really hard to get into, I'm thinking the foamers are going to really help. We have a couple of clients who have these, I guess, Texas Roadhouse, I think, has
Texas Roadhouse, yeah.
Don't have them, but it's the exact same style, and it's really hard to get into. And there's a Chinese place downtown Sacramento that has the same. So I'm thinking the foamers would work there well, because you get the foam actually doing the work, right? What's your experience or thought?
Yeah, they do. Are you talking about water wash hoods where they have these kind of
There,
long panels and
there's
you open?
Yeah, there's one client that has the the water wash technology. It's not working super great.
They usually don't. They usually will break down after several years, and the customer won't maintain it, and it kind of becomes a barrier to cleaning. But yes, the foam, it definitely helps
Okay.
get in those areas. And
Do you guys?
but I was going to say our process, it's kind of the same. We just scrape,
Mhm.
foam, and wash.
Okay.
And obviously, as you bring bring account up to standard, and he's on a set frequency, and every time you come back to that restaurant, less and less scraping is needed, unless it's, a lot of the Asian places do require scraping every time, um, and first time customers usually those are pretty intense. But most places on a regular service, you just have to foam and wash.
Okay. Perfect. And if I were to place an order on the site, do you know how long we have to wait for the foamer, like the whole system, foamer with tank?
It's your Sacramento, a day or two.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, it's usually a lot of the guys on the East Coast are East Coast and Canada, so it takes a little bit to get to them.
Right.
So, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Thanks.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. So Dahlia, you have three crew, or you had three crews. That was kind of the
Yeah, so we
key.
have two crews are busy at all times. The third one is busy some of the time. So when we have a couple of part-time guys, right? So they're the additional helper when we need to send three crews out, and then two guys are left if the job is longer. But we have a couple guys who can work from like 5, 6 p.m. till 12 midnight or 1 a.m. And yeah, some jobs are bigger and we send 3 or 4 people. But we're close to, my goal is to get the three crews working consistently ideally by September. But I have to probably fire one of the guys who has created a lot of issues, and just his work ethic. I don't know what happened, but he's doing less and less work. So we actually have to have a conversation tonight and potentially let him go. We'll see how the conversation goes. And then I would need to replace that person.
I understand that. I've
Yeah.
definitely been in those shoes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't work out with them, or they're
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I understand.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing for me is once I get the three crews running, the company's doing a decent profit. It's worth my time. And my next big step is actually to get looking for a grease trap cleaning company to acquire. Um, and because then you have a cross-selling from the two, and then potentially a fire suppression company. Acquire it, I mean, a bigger company that has someone licensed who wants to become part owner. So that's my next step to grow quicker without having to learn all these industries. So first, get these three crews running consistently, have the marketing system in place, and then acquire these other two companies. Um, I think it's fun. It's a fun way to grow, and it's totally possible. Most people don't realize it, that almost anyone can do it.
Yeah, no, I mean you definitely have you've been around the block in terms of
Yeah.
businesses, and
I,
I'd say your confidence level is probably higher than most,
I made a lot of mistakes. Yes.
and so therefore you've hopefully learned a lot.
Yeah, I did. I did for sure. I appreciate so much your time. If there's anything I can help with, anyone who's listening to the video, happy to. Not sure what I could help in the hood cleaning, but happy to.
Well, I may take you up on that. I mean, you have more experience in other areas and businesses and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
you have that, which we do not have.
And that was part
So-
of why I thought buying a service business would be very interesting, right? And I have considered just building an admin company to support hood cleaning companies across the country. Which leads me to the last question I have for you. What software program do you use? Is it proprietary or do you use something that's been out there?
Proprietary.
Okay.
But we are potentially going to release it. Have you ever dealt with software before? I don't want to put maybe at the end of the year, beginning of 25.
Yeah. I know.
Software. A lot goes into it. I'll just say that. It's quite a challenge.
Oh yeah. I can believe that. Okay.
So
Well,
we've structured it to our business model. So
that's awesome.
it's all the platforms are there. Scheduling. Where we've had to change things is, when we originally started it was just programming it for one operating device, which was a mistake. In terms of
Yeah.
the iPhone versus Android.
Yeah.
Because so we're in the process of correcting that, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Well,
But-
we'll see when you release it. Happy to test it, and I'm always looking to improve the process at any point.
Yeah, I understand. Well, all right, Dahlia, I really appreciate talking with you. Maybe we'll talk again next week.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much. Bye, everyone.
Okay. Bye.